Hi everybody, welcome. It's been about 7 months since I put a video up. I just haven't felt like it, haven't had the attention, haven't had interest, and I apologise for that. Over the past year, I've had quite a few changes that I've noticed, and I just thought that they were kind of, par for the course as far as mentally and stuff. And recently I was talking to my sister and she said, you really should get that documented with your GP because, if you need help down the track, you need to have these things documented. So I made an appointment and went to the GP and he just wasn't interested. I mean, he had told me in the beginning he didn't know anything about C.A.A. And I know I kind of thought maybe he would do a quick research what it is but obviously he didn't. But he just was as if I'm running late, I haven't got time to do this. I mean, I was his second patient in for the day. And he's got the paperwork because I typed it out so I could read it. He's got this like, and then one of the things on there is I can't walk in a straight line. I have to hold my husband's hand because I veer off and pulls me back. And I tumble a lot and I'm unsteady on my feet. And he's like, well, have you had your eyes checked? Well, yeah, I haven't. There's nothing wrong with my eyes. And then he said, well, why do you want this written down? And I'm like, just as I said, I might need help. I might need to get my husband carer's allowance. Who knows? As soon as I said that, it was almost like I was trying to scam the system. He just switched like that. He did not type one thing while I was in there on my file. And I was shattered because it's like, I need a doctor. You're it, mate, And I was humiliated because he made me feel like I was a hypochondriac. And I never go to this guy. Like in 3 years, I had a couple of times for depression, for a steroid injection in my arm, antibiotics. I think that's it. I don't even think I've been 10 times in 3 years. Anyway, and he's like, well, you have to have a dementia test or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't want one of those. I don't want to be a label. I don't want to be actually told I've got dementia. Like, I don't know how mentally I'm going to cope if that happens. And plus, I had heard vascular dementia is linked to C.A.A. and there is no actual test for vascular dementia. I think it is worked out on what your underlying medical problems are. And so that's another reason I didn't want to go and have it. And especially because of the way he was acting, I thought, can you imagine if I had failed a dementia test? And let me tell you, I've got a friend who the doctor has confirmed has got dementia, but each time she does a test, she passes. So that just goes to show you, So can you imagine if I passed it? He would have just looked me over every time I said something. So I decided to write to my neurologist. Now, my neurologist is my neurologist just based on the fact that in 2020, I ended up in hospital. I got given the diagnosis, and on the medical paperwork that got sent, to my doctor to let them know what was going on, had his name in it. So I'm like, well, you're it, dude. And I've written to him twice before. One time when I tried to get my license back, and he answered and filled out my form. When I was going to go overseas last year, I wanted to know how many strokes I'd had, how many brain hemorrhages I'd had, so that when I got travel insurance, it would be honest. I could fill it out honestly. And he answered me there. So I thought, I'm writing to him. I'm going to tell him that what happened with the doctor. Tell him that, somewhere down the track I may need to claim a benefit from Centrelink. Hence, he would need to fill out a form. You know, can you, get me an appointment with yourself? And what else was there? Oh, yeah. And then I also put down, well, here's the problems I'm having. And so I sent that off. And then I thought, well, I'm gonna print out some stuff about C.A.A, which then came with information about vascular dementia, because I want to give that to my GP. Well, I was shocked when I looked at the symptoms of vascular dementia, because there is at least, I think, 4, if not 5, symptoms on that list that I think relates to what's happening to me. Jesus, that kicked me in the gut. Really kicked me in the guts. Really kicked me in the guts. I mean, I was told in the beginning that, you'd probably get dementia, but I didn't know really anything about dementia. Not really. Not symptoms or anything, other than you had trouble with your memory. And it's things like, I've got a list here. So one thing is an unsteady gait. Now, I looked up various meanings of unsteady gait, and a gait is how you walk. And it can be falling over, not walking in straight lines, and hello, that's one of my really big problems. I do have problems with my memory. My husband has to come everywhere with me now, because when I walk out of the room, I won't retain anything that was said. I can't, and it's another thing here is like being able to take direction. And you can tell me something, show me how to do something 5 times, 6 times. I don't get it. I can't work out what is being said. I can't organize things. If I had to go to point A and point B and point C, what is the best way to do it? Or you know what I'm saying. I can't do that anymore. And I used to be great at choreographing, like everything I did in my life, because I'm a bit of a control freak. Was choreographed, I call it. When I got married, bridesmaid A would walk off at this point in the song, not before, and B, and right. Bad, like I'm bad in that way, but I choreograph everything in my head and I see it, and but not now. I can't do it now. Attention span almost non-existent. I can't organize my thoughts. I can't. Look, I want to paint. I want to paint my laundry, and because I'm such a control freak, I cannot work out for the life of me what you paint first. Logically, like what would be the best? You paint the walls first or the door frames? I know that sounds pathetic to you, but I can't work out how to do it. And I haven't painted it yet because I'm still trying to work out that. Oh yes, I can ask somebody, but that doesn't give me any satisfaction. But they're just little things, but they're so big when you feel them and you live them every day. And then suddenly you can't. I find it very hard to add up. Like if I put down there's 3 or 4 or 5 numbers in a row with a pen and paper and try to add them up, I like do it 3 or 4 or 5 times till I get 2 that match. I could do it in my head. I can't do it in my head now, but I'm just good at maths and addition. Even multiplication in some, but not anymore. I forget about the bills. I don't forget I've not paid them. I just forget I've even got them. It's a real kick in the guts. I knew one day, well, they tell you one day it's going to happen. And now I don't know if I'm on the verge of vascular dementia. But I need to know because I'm a control freak. And I'm sure there's things I would have to do because I haven't planned for anything like that yet because I didn't want to believe. I've always believed that my diagnosis was a mistake. That's not really what I've got. Anyway, I got a letter back from the neurologist or from his secretary, and they have booked me an appointment. So I will be able to have a talk to him and see what he says. And if there's anything to be done, hopefully we can, something, whatever. And then if I've got it, he can write to my GP and tell my GP, this is what she's got. It seems so minor what's happening to me compared to so many of you and so many people around me. So many people in my family have got cancer, one form or another. Well, it's not like we all get together and chat about our problems because you just can't, can you? And not only that, look at me, like I don't show any signs. I've still got my hair. It's not falling out because you know what some people have got? Someone with cancer has got that we don't have? They have a chance. They have treatment. They have hope. I hope you tell your carers how special they are. I feel sorry for the carers, what they're going to have to go through, how we couldn't get through anything without them. And if you're a carer, then thank you. Thank you on behalf of everybody that maybe hasn't said it yet, because this is very consuming. And I think we can get lost somewhat in it being all about us. But we thank you. I hope everybody has got a good GP. I'm going to make mine a good GP. I'm sure I'm going to need him in the future. And, again, if I would look up, if you're brave enough to, look up the symptoms of vascular dementia. Because I think I said it in the beginning, there is actually, if you think you've got just what we call dementia, right? Because I didn't know there was other forms of dementia. And yet they do that test on you. That won't always show that you've got dementia because, again, I don't know if I told you, I just made a 28-minute video and it didn't format. This is my second time around. So I can't remember what I told you, what I didn't. But I got a friend and they're trying to get her into a care home now. And her doctor has documented that, yes, she has in fact, and yet she's passed every test they've given her. So according to the test, she doesn't have it. But she doesn't remember to eat. She doesn't remember to shower, to wash herself. She doesn't remember that yesterday. No, her son did not come to see her yesterday. He hasn't been to see her in weeks. But she has got it, and she can't even look after herself, and she's got a neighbour in her 80s or late 70s. The neighbour's looking after her because her family lives interstate. Now, I've completely lost my train of thought, but that's okay. That's all to be expected. I just want to tell you, we've all got to keep on going, don't we? But be allowed, be soft on yourself, you know, because I do keep a lot of stuff in. And really and truly, I think because I can't even explain the feelings I have in my head, not the voices, not the thoughts, but sometimes I have a real strange, I can't even find a word to describe it, so I can't even say it, because how do you, because sometimes I say to my husband, something's just not right in there, it's not right in there. But I'm sure he thinks it's like I'm not thinking straight, or I think this, or I've got a headache. So I don't know what I want to say to you. I want you to be strong. I want to say thank you to the carers. I hope you've all got somebody you can talk to. And I know there's a lot of people there that never get to see a neurologist. It's almost as if once you're diagnosed, unless you've got symptoms, that you end up in a hospital often, because, you know, a lot of people have been paying privately to see specialists. And I asked a lady once, so what advice does your neurologist tell you? What have they told you, if you don't mind me asking? And that person told me the same information that I got off the internet, and what people on these pages have been saying. And some of those have just, you know, done the research, or it's what they were told in the beginning. But this, so I don't even have a lot of faith in paying privately for neurologists. No offense. But that lady didn't tell me anything that I didn't even know, that I hadn't even picked up off of Google. I just think they don't know. They do their best. They don't know. Anyway, I'm getting a headache, so I hope this is taped, because if it's not, you're not getting a video today. I did go on my holiday, by the way, last year. I was supposed to stay away for 3 months, but I've got a spinal problem as well, and I think we'd been there 4 or 5 weeks or something, and I was in so much pain that I couldn't walk. I was having a really hard time, so we decided not to stay for 3 months what we were going to. We might as well just cut it short, and because otherwise it's just wasting money being there when I couldn't even be doing anything. So that time ran quickly. All right, guys. Sorry if I don't answer your comments. It's a bit of a waste of space today. I'm not in the headspace to do it. I just thought I better do it while I feel like doing it. But I'd let you know once I see this neurologist where we go with it. But, you know, just give some more reading if you haven't read up exactly what C.A.A is and what kind of dementia is related to that. And then at least that way, like, I wish I'd known when I went to my GP about the symptoms being different and not being able to diagnose. And, you know, I would have said it to him. I'll be ready when I go back, because I've got to have a referral, so I've got to go back to him anyway and see how we go. I hope this has taped. Stay safe. Take care. I hope to see you soon. trying to work out. I couldn't remember how to tape this on the laptop. It took me about 10 minutes to work out how to do it and where to find it afterwards. Okay, see you guys.